What is up, my friend? Welcome to episode number 63 of the Anthony John Amix podcast. This is another Sunday sermon edition, and if you've ever struggled with making a big decision that requires you to really put your ass on the line, I have a story for you that may inspire you and also give you that little extra kick in the pants to get you through. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Anthony John Amix podcast, the one and only podcast designed to help you become unstoppable in life and business. My name is Anthony John Amix. My friends call me AJ, and my goal with this podcast is to help you remember who you truly are so you can maintain your center in the chaos, embody your potential, and unlock freedom in your life and business. That being said, let's get into today's show.
All right, welcome back. First off, thanks for being here and making the decision to listen to this podcast. I really appreciate that. And before we get into the stories and the content that I have prepared for you today, I want to ask you a question. Are you an established coach or course creator who'd like to add a minimum of 6 figures to your business? If so, I'd love to have a conversation with you to see if you'd be a good fit for me helping make that a reality for you. All the clients I work with privately are absolutely crushing it right now. They're having $90,000 beta launches, $1.1 million projected revenues for this year here in 2020. Another client is approaching the $150,000 per month in reoccurring revenue mark, which is an all-time high for him. And oftentimes people ask me, what does it actually take to achieve these types of results? And I wish I could just give them a simple answer and say something well, just do a webinar funnel or just do a chat bot or something of that nature. And while those things do play into hitting those types of numbers, it doesn't really come from just that. These types of results come from working with the business leader and their entire team, and it really requires a holistic approach. So if you're an established coach or course creator and you're looking to make 2020 and beyond some of the best years in business that you've had up to this point, head on over to talkwithaj.com to schedule a time to talk with me. I can personally guarantee that I will not take you on as a client unless I feel 100% certain that we can do some big things together. It's just the way I roll. So if you're serious about making a quantum leap in your life and your business, I know my processes work and I have plenty of social proof to back that up. So to simply go to talkwithaj.com to grab a time to talk with me. And on that call, we'll have a conversation about where you're at, where you want to go, and we'll just kind of craft this game plan to help you hit results. And by the end of that call, if you want some help in pulling that plan off, then we'll explore what that looks like. So does that sound pretty good? If so, just go to talkwithaj.com. So with that being said, let's get into this Sunday sermon and let's talk about some good things. So this week, I'm going to be honest, it's been a big week for me, and it's really required me to make some big decisions, what some would call probably power moves. And it's really required me to really take a hard look at myself and really ask myself, man, am I really willing to double down on myself in this season of life? Am I really going to double down on myself to hit the next level that I want to experience? And I sat with that question and really just set with it. I decided yeah, absolutely. So what was the big thing for me? Well, you see, I had this publishing company. They invited me to write a book with them, and it was going to require a pretty darn good, significant investment for me. In fact, I had to dig into some of our savings to make it happen. Now, this was the first time that I had ever to do that in this game of business. Up until this point, I've always managed to either just finance things with a credit card, and I knew that I would be able to make those payments without acquiring interest. I always did that. Or I would be able to leverage the profits that I've made in the business to create the growth that I've experienced up to this point. Those are just kind of the two plays that I've played up to this point. So when this opportunity came across my desk, which was something honestly that I'd really been thinking about and really feeling into for about 2 years now, I just knew I had to do it. But to be honest, there was this part of me that was absolutely terrified. So I got really curious about man, what was really going on? Why was I afraid? And I learned something that was pretty significant for me, and I think it may be pretty significant for you as well. I learned that the thing that I was really afraid of was the responsibility that came with the decision. I was afraid to be dominated by the responsibility of the work that would be required of me upon making this decision. You see, like, I love freedom. I like my lifestyle. I like walking with my daughter pretty much every single day if it's not raining or something. I like going on our walks in the nature preserve that's right behind our place and observing the bugs and the trees and just like the small things in life that for her, like these big, huge things. I like teaching her to respect nature and to be with nature. I like snuggles with my wife. I like to Netflix and chill, if you know what I mean. I also like to work, I love my coaching my people. I love supporting our community of people. And I knew once I committed to this publishing company and committed to myself and to my wife that I would write this book and publish it and hit our target of selling 10,000 copies. I knew it was going to require more time of me away from my wife and my daughter, and this would probably mean it would like shake things up in my marriage a bit because my wife is used to having me like being able to hang out a bit. And I also know it was going to require a significant upfront investment, and I had thoughts of like, well, what if this doesn't work out? Like, will my wife think I'm a failure? And I knew like all of these thoughts were like silly. I knew they're disempowering thoughts, yet they were real thoughts of mine. So I just chose to align with the truth of these thoughts and just kind of like observe them for a bit. I even like set my wife down and told her like, hey, I'm afraid of this. Well, I'm afraid of like, what if this doesn't work? I'm thinking like, you're afraid of, if I don't do this, like it doesn't work, or you can think I'm a failure. Like all these things. And this is just kind of what we do in our household. We just speak the truth and we just kind of choose to work through it and support one another because we like supporting one another's desires. And a big value in our family is growth. And I just knew, though, I had to write this book, so I pulled the trigger. And I remember reading a book by Neville Goddard. I think it was back 2016. It was called Your Faith is Your Fortune. And in the book it says, I think it was like right at the beginning, maybe a cover page before even chapter 1, it says, man's faith in God is measured by his confidence in himself. Man's confidence in God is measured by his confidence in himself. Now, that's a big statement that will shake up a conservative Christian. In fact, if I would have read that back in 2011, I would have judged it to be blasphemous and absolutely bullshit, and I would have been super, super triggered. And if that's you right now, I 100% get it. And as I've journeyed and experienced more and more that this life has to offer us, I found the statement to actually be 100% true. And the way I like to say it is, to the degree in which you trust yourself is to the degree in which you trust your God or spirit or universe. I'm going to use the word God because I like using the word. And so this statement, it just rang so true when like dropping the amount of money to get this book out into the world. Like if I really trust myself, then I know selling 10,000 copies is done. Like it is done. Now, why can I say this? Because I asked the hard questions to the publisher. I sat in the pocket with the decision, and I know I'm not writing the book because I have something to prove or defend. I'm writing the book because I have something that needs to be said, and the book is going to solve a huge problem in this entrepreneurial marketplace. And, like the old me would have just looked at this whole thing about the money of making this decision and what was required, and it would have just like been like, nope, not doing it, just too expensive. Yet the new me chose to get curious and resourceful to see like, how could I make it happen? The new me chose to stand in the pocket with this decision and really like wrestle with it a bit. Like genuinely like wrestle and push and tug and like have some pretty tough conversations. And the new me, it like told the publisher on one of our follow-up sales calls, I was like, yo man, my head says let's do this, but there's this thing deep within me that says just not yet. And the publisher was like, well, do you mind sharing what that deeper feeling is? And I was like, dude, like, sure I am. And I just don't really know how to put this into words really. Okay, cool. I do. So let me just be direct. Dude, do you mind if I'm just super, super direct with you? And the guy was like, yeah, that would be great. And I was like, cool. Well, here's the thing. You keep saying your intention is this. You keep saying your intention is that. And I'm going to be honest, I don't give a fuck what your intention is. What I desire is certainty. I want to know that you are certain that we can create these results together. Like, can you help me create it? Yes or no? And he was like, dude, thank you so much for sharing. Really appreciate that. He's like, dude, yes, I am 100% certain that we can help you create what you desire. And after that conversation, like, that was that. Like, it was done. I was down. I was like, cool, man. Everything within me just like lit up. It was like green light, go. And it felt really good. You know, the old me wouldn't have had the courage to speak so directly. Just too afraid. Yet I came back to these wise words of Neville. Man's faith in God is measured by his confidence in himself. So, like, what is the big lesson here? Well, if you're struggling with making a big investment into yourself or into your business or whatever, the real question really comes down to, do you truly, fully trust yourself to do what's required of you? Like, do you truly trust yourself to do what's required of you? Because if you do, and if you believe like who or what you're investing in is going to help give you either the skill sets or the resources to create the results that you desire quickly, then like it's like, what are you really waiting for if you truly trust yourself? And if you're like me, it's probably being afraid of being dominated by the responsibility of what is required of you to actually create the outcome you desire. And which again comes back to, if you truly trust yourself, then you'll find a way to do what's required, like period. End of story. And I'm here to tell you, the game really is that simple. When we get out of our heads and drop down into our souls and remember who we truly are, which is the soul in control. And from that place, the world really does become our oyster. The world really is ours for the taking. My friend, if you get this, I know you'll choose to invest in yourself time and time again, and you'll find that investing in yourself is one of the safest investments that you can ever make. Every time I've invested in myself, like, it has always paid me back massively, massively, massively. So my invitation to you this day is this. How much do you really trust yourself? Because to the degree in which you trust yourself is to the degree in which you trust your God. And God, spirit, universe, whatever you want to call that, will always bring you opportunities to bring your heart's desires to reality if you're willing to trust yourself to do what's required at the mind level, the body level, and the soul level. Because remember, this game just isn't about mindset or skill set. You get to learn how to master your body set as well. So my friend, that's going to do it for this episode of the Anthony John Amix podcast. If this episode inspired you in some way, man, I would love to hear about it. Like, simply take a screenshot of you listening to this episode on whatever device you're listening on and share that image over on your Instagram stories, and then just tag me using @AJAmix. That way I can see what your biggest takeaway from this episode was. It would really serve me and be a great anchor for you. So thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you so much more than you'll ever know. Until next, my friend, I'm out. Peace.
Well, that's all I've got for this episode of the Anthony John Amix podcast, but we have plenty more to help you become unstoppable in life and business. So head on over to ajamix.com for exclusive resources, information, and tools to help you break through to a new level of freedom, purpose, and success. I look forward to having you back for the next episode. Bye for now.